Hi y'all, it's Kathy with Design by Kathy. We're going to continue on to part number 2 of our mixed media resin and paint project. So I already have these pieces that are embellishments that I cut out on my Cricut that we're going to place on this canvas. But I'm going to go ahead and we're going to mix up our resin. We're going to be using Art Resin epoxy, and it comes in, it's a 2-part resin. There's a hardener and the actual resin. You mix these a 1-to-1 ratio. And that was the resin, and now I'm going to pour the hardener. I'm going to make sure they're completely even. So now we're going to pour the hardener and the resin in 1 cup and mix well. Each type of resin has different specifications. Most of them, the ones I have used, are all the 1-to-1 ratio. You stir for about 2 minutes and then let it sit anywhere from 3 to 5 minutes, depending on the directions with that particular resin. So we want to mix this up, mix it really, really well. Pull it off, make sure it's all off of your popsicle stick. Scrape the bottom. You want to make sure every bit of it is mixed, because it takes both parts in order for the resin to work properly. We're going to set this aside and let it sit. When it sits, it lets the bubbles come to the surface, and you can remove a lot of them, so you don't have to deal with as many bubbles when you're getting your project done. I'm going to turn this sideways. What I've cut out here is a palm tree and a little starfish, and then living on island time, a little saying. So let's start. I'm going to start with the palm tree. I don't want to burnish this like you typically would on a Cricut, or project, because I don't want to poke a hole through my canvas. Now, let me explain. There is a method to my madness as to why with this project, we mixed the resin in. You can see there's a little bit of a shine and slickness throughout here. If I had done this without the resin already in it, it quite possibly could have pulled my paint off. But as you saw, that went on and didn't pull any of the paint off with my transfer paper. Because that transfer paper, I have done it on. I've done it on a paper little box thing. I was trying to make a little something. And it pulled all the paper off. And as you can see, Just keep burnishing that down until every piece of it is grabbed by the transfer paper. And there we have it. So let's see where we're going to place this. That works pretty perfect right there. And again, I'm not using my burnishing tool for two reasons. I don't want to mash too hard on my canvas, and because I forgot to bring it into my craft room with me. Let's see what we got there. It's adhering to this pretty well though. Except for the eyes. What is it about the eyes and dots that they always don't want to cooperate with me? And this one is definitely not. I'm just taking my fingernail and kind of burnishing that down a little bit. It seems to be the only one so far that does not wish to cooperate with us. One tiny little letter that doesn't want to cooperate. Well, now it wants to stick to me, but that's okay as long as I have to lose it. I like to save, if possible, my contact paper and use it more than one time. Now, I'm not really worried that this is not stuck down. I could put some sticky stuff on it. In fact, I probably will on that because I don't want it to fold up. But I'll show you that in just a moment. And then we'll see the reason why, because we are going to be putting our resin on top of this. So now we're going to take our little starfish and see where we want to place him. I'm kind of maybe putting, I'm going to center him up with my little saying here. I did have to get my little burnishing tool because there was a couple more places that just didn't want to cooperate well. Okay, so there we have our vinyl on. And now for the final touch of what we're going to do with this little beach saying. My resin is ready. I do have a lot of bubbles here. I'm going to see if we can scrape off a lot of them, because bubbles on the surface they'll go on your project, and we don't want those. We want this to be smooth as glass. I'm going to elevate it going to use a little sponge brush to help spread this resin around, but I'm just going to start pouring. And then I want to cover it, take my little brush, and we'll cover it completely. I think, you know, on a surface like this, I think using the brush itself helps to pop some of the bubbles. But again, like I said, the reason for, and another way I could have done this, or you can do this, is if you want to, you know, just paint directly on your canvas, and then put a coat of resin, then your embellishments, and then the final coat of resin. I cut out a step by going ahead and adding the resin to my paint. Thankfully, I'm not seeing a lot of bubbles. There are several ways, once you get all your resin, you know, make sure everything is coated. There are a couple of ways you can use your little heat gun, and that will pop the bubbles. You can lift them up with a toothpick. But I'll show you what I'm gonna use today to get rid of any bubbles that are lurking about. See, there's one right there. I don't know if you can see it, but you get it at the right angle, and they tend to kind of jump out at you. But what I want to use, this is some super nifty stuff. It's called Eat a Bubble. It's clear coat, and it's called Eat a Bubble. So let's just take a look here. I see a few right there. Let's see how that works. I'm not sure if that's even a bubble or something else. Oh, it is something in there that I want to get out. It's still there. It looks like it's a dust particle or a dog hair or a cat hair or my hair, but there, I think I got it now. So I'm not seeing any more bubbles. I will come back and, you know, check it after about 30 minutes and see if any more have risen to the top. But like I said, what I've found is on a surface like this, the sponge seems to help take quite a bit of the bubbles out. But this is our little beach decor project, and I think it turned out pretty cute. But you use your imagination and come up with any color scheme you want, or any theme that you would like. So use paints and resin and your Cricut or Silhouette machine. I can't wait to see what it looks like once the resin is all cured. But again, use your imagination and make it yours, make it personal, and you can do it. Thanks for watching. Please be sure to subscribe and or like this video, and be sure to check out part 1 as well.